The RTX 4000 versus the P2000, the reigning champ for Plex transcoding. That's right, I got the RTX 4000 a long time ago, but I quickly realized it wasn't worth the extra money, so I didn't really make a video right away. But in today's video, I'm going to cover some of the highlights as to why the RTX 4000 in terms of transcoding for your Plex Media server is a complete waste of money. Whether you're protecting yourself on public Wi-Fi, bypassing regional filters, or just simply wanting to download something without the worries of a government or a corporation not liking you for it, a VPN service is a must-have solution. And depending on where you're located, it could be hard to find a VPN fast enough for daily use. That's why the 30-day 100% money-back guarantee of NordVPN is so valuable. Because even though I can tell you I get great speeds and reliability, as they say, the proof is in the pudding. By visiting nordvpn.com/byte or clicking the link in the video description below, you can test these speeds out for yourself with a heavy discount. And with 30 days to prove its worth, it's a safe way to ensure you're getting what you paid for. What's up YouTube, Jason here with Byte My Bits. The RTX 4000, it's a newer architecture running the Turing versus the Pascal with the P2000. It costs $890-ish depending on when and where you buy it, while the P2000 usually you can get for about $400, although some people have reported some tremendous sales. I'm talking $260 or less. But going with straight retail numbers, the RTX 4000 is already literally more than twice as much as the P2000. Granted, you do get a few more gigs of RAM with the RTX 4000. We're talking 8 gigs versus the P2000 having 5 gigs. And yes, it is faster RAM, GDDR6 versus 5, but both cards have the same amount of NVE and C chips, and for the most part, they both support just about the same stuff as far as encoding and decoding. With the exception of HEVC B-frame support, which really is more encoding, and since it doesn't really use that, it doesn't matter. But one thing I can say, and I didn't really look into it too much to explain it more because it wasn't that big a deal, the P2000 doesn't seem to always kick in when transcoding 4K streams. The RTX 4000 seems to always be able to handle just about everything you throw at it. So there might be some color profiles or some different codecs that are kicking the P2000 out of the game and offloading that transcoding to CPUs. But I still stand behind my statement of transcoding 4K is a complete waste of time. It takes a buttload more resources to transcode from 4K down to, let's say, 2 megabits per second on your cell phone than it does to go from a 1080p. So do like I do and a lot of people I know that have Plex servers and separate your 4K media library from your 1080p library and just don't share 4K with, friends or whatever. Unless you have a 1 gig internet connection and you can do that, in which case I am totally jelly, and because I'm jealous, I'm going to say I hate you. So the RTX 4000, in my opinion, is a total waste of money, but let me explain why I got it in the first place and then tell you why it is a complete waste of money if you want to buy it specifically for Plex hardware accelerated transcoding. Now, back when I was building my new server Loki, I was kind of planning on what I wanted to put into it. I ended up landing on a Ryzen 3900X because basically I threw a bunch of money at it and it kind of dried up a little bit, so I stuck with what I had. It's still a 3900X. It only has 32 gigs of RAM, but I'm so far getting by on that. But I did have to buy a new graphics card to put in there because I wanted to keep the P2000 for another planned project. If you guys haven't seen that project, it's called the Angry Inch, and it's a micro Plex Media Server build. Check out the links up top in the cards or in the description down below if you'd like to learn how to build a very small and very angry inch of a Plex Media Server. I personally like it, but I turned it into a DVR for Blue Iris. Still, that's a 3700X powered by a P2000, and it was capable of doing that because the P2000 is a single card slot with very minimal power requirements, meaning it does not require a GPU power cable in order to run, which is kind of a big deal for some people. Taking my new server for an example, the way it came pre-built using the built-in power supplies, it actually didn't have enough cables in order to run an additional GPU in the system. In order for me to run the RTX 4000, I had to buy an adapter that went from the motherboard power supply into the PCI Express power supply plug-in. I checked the compatibility, everything's been working, it functioned 100%, but doing something like that is kind of risky. You run the risk of pretty much frying stuff in your computer if you don't do it right. Not saying I did the research, I'm just saying I plugged things in and hoped they didn't explode. They didn't. So I bought the RTX 4000 for a whopping $829.99 plus tax, shipping, and handling because I already had the P2000, already did my videos, my testing, and I wanted something different for the channel. I bought it, I got it, I put it into my new Loki server build, and I ran some initial tests on it, and I was immediately let down. This was months ago. And because I was so let down, I just deployed it and was like, okay, that's not nearly as exciting as unveiling the P2000 was, just because it cost so much more money and really did not give me that much of a gain as far as transcodes come. Even though now me using my server for something like folding at home, having that RTX 4000 is kind of nice to be able to contribute a little bit more. And obviously I like bigger, badder parts anyway, so I don't really hate myself for buying the RTX 4000, especially now that I know for sure, without a shadow of a doubt, that the RTX 4000 in the sense of Plex transcoding is a complete waste of money. So to give you the numbers, running the same test bed system that is now my full-time server, I'm running a 3900X with Unraid. Again, 32 gigs of RAM in this system. With the P2000, I was able to transcode 28 different 1080p streams. With these tests, I'm using the same test video file that I encoded myself. It was basically a view of my pond with some geese or ducks. Nobody knows what they are. Pretty much it's a 45-minute video clip, and I just transcode as many as I can down to 2 megabits per second and see how long until it just doesn't work anymore. With the P2000, I was able to get 28, but with the RTX 4000, I was only able to get 29. And that actually really kind of let me down. I was hoping it would be able to handle more, and I know some of the biggest factors when it comes to this Plex transcoding, especially with this hardware acceleration here, is going to be VRAM. The amount of RAM on the video card plays a humongous role in its ability to handle these transcoded streams. Because all of that's being supported by the GPU, all of that memory is being used for the temporary files. So transcoding a 1080p stream can take, 150 megs, but transcoding a 4K stream can take up to 1.5, 1.6 gigabytes per stream. In my mind, when I bought this, I thought to myself, going from 5 to 8 gigabytes of VRAM and have it actually be faster VRAM with the new GDDR6, I thought, surely it should be able to do at least maybe 3 or 4 more streams than the P2000 can handle. Unfortunately, my theory was absolutely wrong. I tested it initially, I was only able to hit 29, and I just revisited this theory, tested it again, got some screen captures of my test, and proved it once again. I can only do 29 streams at the same time. And when it comes to 4K transcoding, which again, HDR, SDR resources, completely not worth it, don't do 4K transcoding, but when it came to 4K transcoding, I was not able to get an additional stream over the P2000, which means I was stuck at only 8 4K streams. So coming in at least $800, if not almost $900, the RTX 4000 just does not put out the numbers to justify the additional cost. If you're using it for other things, like for me right now, I actually figured out, thank you to some of my commenters on my last Jason Bytes back, that I can run the GPU on both folding at home and on Plex by using all instead of the very specific GPU ID. I was running into errors and someone told me to use all instead of the ID, and now everything seems to work. So having a GPU like this for me, when I'm going to be using it for other things, folding, Plex, and VMs, it is definitely nice to have that extra horsepower and the additional RAM. But in terms of just raw, dedicated Plex hardware accelerated transcoding, the RTX 4000 just doesn't put out enough. So once again, the P2000 is the reigning value bang for your buck GPU that you can buy that is completely unrestricted from the factory and easy to use. It's small, it's compact, does not require a power cable, and you don't have to do any kind of driver hacks, especially every time you update the drivers in your Unraid system in order to keep it working without any kind of restriction. I know you can buy cheaper consumer cards and unlock them and get them to work with unlimited streams. I've never said that's not a thing. In fact, I've done it myself. However, I believe that with a Quadro being completely unlocked from the factory, That extra cost that you pay if you can't afford it is worth the headache you might be dealing with later on down the line if you have to unlock it again or something breaks or whatever. Well guys, that's all I have for the RTX 4000. If you have any questions, comments, or complaints, leave them in the comments down below. As always, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching and have yourself a great day.